What? What? Sorry.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I was like thinking about some memories.
Oh, okay. So we thought it would be really fun to do a video where we kind of recap how all this came to be.
How did this come to be? I actually tried doing daily vlogs when we first launched the channel with the idea that we turn all these daily vlogs into what this video eventually would become. However, what happened is that we actually started work on the channel right before the pandemic started, and I sort of like lost the thread on that. So you're gonna see like some of those vlogs interspliced in here, but we're gonna have to use like
imagination
and the connective tissue of this video to sort of tie it together.
How did we start our channel? Well, let's go back in time. It is December 2019.
Earlier.
Oh, I wanted to start. How far back are we starting? So, let's go back in time. It's 1993, and I'm happy for once. It is October 2019. Kristen and I have been unhappy at our jobs for a while. There's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that's difficult. Kristen approaches me, being like, hey, wouldn't it be crazy if this thing that we do every day, we did for business, for ourselves, made a YouTube channel, and we'd be independent?
And I kind of like posed it as like a haha, unless.
I knew that you were serious about it. I knew you were seriously proposing, like, do you want to start a business with me? I was kind of on the fence mostly because we were all so burned out that even though we were such good friends and we had a lot of fun working together, I really was kind of hesitant. And you were pretty sure that it was a good idea. I mean, you were right. Obviously, it was a good idea. But it was like, I definitely was the person that needed a little bit more cajoling. I was kind of anxiety spiraling. And I was like, I don't want to start a business because what if I don't, you know, like if it doesn't go well, you know, all the money we're going to be investing, all these mistakes, blah, blah, blah.
We were not given an accurate picture of what independence would look like financially for us.
Yeah.
Based on what we were told, we thought it would not be viable.
Right.
And that was wrong.
Yeah. You know, you're a good friend, so you were always able to, like, every time we talked about it, you were like, I'm scared too, but like, this is why I think it would work. This is why I think we would be successful. These are the things we could do to mitigate some of our stress. Like, you definitely helped me feel better about it. And I was like, you know, I don't think there's anybody else that I would be better suited or that could have gotten me to start a business with them at that point in my life other than you.
Oh,
I mean that.
That's so sweet.
Because basically, like, by the time I decided to leave my job in December 2019, I knew that you were probably going to leave the job in January, the following month. It was sort of understood between us that, like, once you left, we were probably going to start the channel.
Yeah. Whoa, sorry. Whoa! Oh my gosh. We interrupt this video to talk to you about AG1 by Athletic Greens. I have a secret to tell you. I'm getting older.
No. Why?
I am needing to be a little bit better about taking care of my gut health. Mama can't be spending all day in the bathroom, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
AG1 is a supplement that combines 75 vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, adaptogens, and dairy-free probiotics.
I like the way it tastes, okay? If I didn't like the way it tastes, I can't eat things I don't like, all right? We've tried.
Health is not a moral value.
No.
But like, this is something I like to do for myself.
If you would like to try Athletic Greens, how can they do that?
Go to the link in our description and you can get a free year supply of vitamin D3K2 plus 5 travel packs for free with your first purchase. Should we give it a little try?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna take this and then we're gonna pour it in here and then we'll put some water in it. And we're mixing it up.
It really has like kind of a creamy taste, but also it is very like, it does quench your thirst.
I'm drinking it really sloppily, so it's spilling all over my...
You too can put AG1 on your titties.
So, if you want to try AG1 by Athletic Greens, go to the link in our description and you'll get a free year supply of vitamin D3K2 plus 5 travel packs for free with your first purchase.
Should we go back to the video?
We should go back to the video.
See ya! In January 2020, right, when you had left the job, I came over to this apartment.
Yeah.
And we had this like long conversation about like whether we were gonna actually start the business.
Which was a really funny day because I invited you over, and the same day our garbage disposal was broken, and so we had to wait. Like we were sitting on the couch, just kind of small talking, waiting for like an hour and a half for like them to finish
fixing your sink.
so we could have like this very serious, life-changing conversation.
It smelled weird because they were fixing the sink. I was just like, what? Yeah, this is gonna be such a smooth place of operations. There's a lot you have to do if you're gonna start a business because you don't want to get Al Capone.
Did we Google how to
We
start?
Googled how to start a business, and I'm sure like found articles written by like year 1 Stanford Business School grads being like, this is how you do it, like something silly. What we actually did, and we were lucky, is we started an LLC, and we have a father.
Yes,
I have a father that is a lawyer.
Our lawyer on retainer.
Yeah.
Who actually does contract law, right?
Who does contract law, yeah.
Yes, that actually works
So
out.
my dad was able to help us get our paperwork started, and we were able to form an LLC.
We're ready to officially incorporate.
Okay, we're signing your documents.
Signing your documents.
Where did you get this pen from?
I found it in my therapist's office.
All right, and we're signing it, and I remember I'm 50%. Your turn. Oh wait, what's my duties?
Duties.
Did you write 2 different things?
Yeah, a little bit. We're incorporated, baby.
High five! Now
Bye
we gotta fix the incorporation document.
bye. Oh, damn it. Also, who the is Iris?
Who? No one. What are you looking at?
It's IRS.
We were like, how much money does it cost to start a YouTube channel? Because none of us really knew.
We had an idea how much equipment would cost, but we weren't sure like what the cost of editing would be. We weren't sure what the cost of like getting all the paperwork filed would be.
How much do individual videos cost to make? We each had like a dollar amount that we're willing to invest, but like we didn't have investors.
It was just us.
It was just us. It was just us.
Yeah.
And I think we both were just like, okay, we're gonna give it like a year, and if we can't,
Earn our money back in a year.
then we're not gonna do this.
Then we're
anymore.
not going to do this. Because it was a substantial, not like a crazy amount, we're not Elon Musk, but we each put in a few thousand.
Yeah, which was like a lot for us. Like
Yeah.
that was like a lot of our
A lot of our savings.
We were scared. It was like a lot of our money.
Yeah. March was like, okay, we're going to buy equipment. We are going to find an artist to help create our logos and our graphics. We are going to launch a Patreon so that we can support ourselves.
So Jen and I are trying to come up with tiers for our.
Should we read our ideas? Scarlet Girls, UFC fighters, Manny Pacquiao's, cunts, flat titties, hung daddies, Adam Driver fans, flat titty bitches, people who lost their virginity in 2012, people who lost their virginity in 2002.
So today is March 11th.
Yeah.
We've been working on this channel for about a month and 11 days.
I just spilled beer on my couch.
On my couch.
On Kristen's couch and my pants.
We were gonna launch April 15th, but like right now, like, in case this is not a big deal by the time you watch this video, everyone is very freaked out about coronavirus right now. Or as it's more commonly referred to, COVID-19.
All right, stop that. So that was basically like when Los Angeles was like, hey, COVID-19 is very real. We are going in like the first round of lockdowns. This is March 2020.
Yeah.
And they were like, nobody go, outside your house, wear masks, like get canned food, all of this stuff. And we were obviously like, this is really scary. What are we gonna do? What ended up happening was like a lot of people, the end of March 2020, April 2020, and May 2020 were some dark, spooky times for us.
Yeah, we basically were just like, well, I guess we can't work on this channel until we can be together again.
Yeah, because at the time it was like I was staying in my household. You were obviously staying in yours. And end of May, I remember us having this conversation where you were like, I am not doing well. I feel really, really stuck. I don't know what to work on. And you were like, and I was feeling similarly. Like we were both super depressed, like very scared, very like worried about our livelihood and what was going on in the world. And you were like, hey, if we decide to form like basically a quarantine bubble where we don't, and we weren't seeing other people anyway, but you were like, where we combine our households so it's safe as much as it can be.
Yeah.
How would you feel about us getting back to work on the channel?
I remember you being like, well, we'll kind of play it by ear. And I remember honestly thinking, like beginning of May, I was like, oh, we're not gonna start this channel. That's when I started Twitch streaming, because I was just like, I don't know what to do with myself and my life. I'm just like, Which honestly, I'm glad that I Twitch streamed for as long as I did, because I think it kept me sharp. It kept me like in shape to do this. May I approached you, and I was really afraid you were gonna say no. I was really afraid you were gonna be like, I can't do this, because I was gonna like, I have to work on something, and I have to see another person, or I will be sad. So yeah, so when we formed a quarantine bubble. Okay, sorry. It
was mid-June when we combined households and I started coming back over to work on the channel again.
Another thing we had to come up with was, what was our set gonna look like?
Part of your consideration when looking for an apartment before you moved here was finding a place that would be conducive to filming.
Yes. Neither of us are like decoros.
Yeah.
We're not really good at decorating, and we were both just like, I knew we wanted to shoot in the kitchen. And like having this big island here was like a big draw, because like the depth of field is just better in the kitchen.
Yeah. We knew that like, okay, the background should look pretty, right? So we found someone on Etsy that makes like personalized stickers. So someone made us this kitchen in Jorn.
This is gonna be our shooting space. Part of our background is gonna be this fridge.
Also, I just realized that it's slightly not straight.
It's slightly not straight.
Like we are!
We're more than slightly not straight.
You're right.
We got a kitchen.
All right, well, that's it. That's all we need.
That's your
Kitchen.
I'm fine with that.
Just slowly, yay! We did it! Oh my god, and the space has been christened.
The space has been kitchened.
We ordered like lots of samples for these cabinets. We ordered like
Bunch of different colors, like different styles.
it looked too busy, it was too expensive. And then finally I was like, why don't we just do a light blue? Because like the backsplash has light blue in it.
It'll be a nice accent.
We just pull that color out of the backsplash. I've insisted to Jen this is a 2-person job, but Jen insisted it's a 1-person job. So I'm waiting to see whether or not I'm right.
Here, hold this up.
Oh, do you need help?
Yeah.
Is this a 2-person job?
I don't know. Here, hold it up.
Was it a 2-person job?
Well, I figured. Here's the thing. Yeah, but I still came out of this interaction pretty good.
I mean, your method of doing it was perfect, but teamwork makes the dream work. But the first one we put on is a huge air bubble.
And it's still there.
You can't. It doesn't really show up on camera. That's why because these are papered, you can't actually separate these anymore.
You can though.
Yeah, it's hard and it scrapes, so it looks bad. So we usually. Oh well. Okay.
I just did it.
Okay, I just did. Okay, so for the first year you couldn't, so you had to open both these at the same time. Okay, happy?
I mean, I'm sure the audience is really happy that they got a play-by-play of that.
Shut the f. Oh, I'm sorry. Did someone not drink their shut the f up juice this morning?
The bar stools that we have, that we're sitting on in like our first videos, we got on Amazon, I think, and I just like built them.
Jen is currently inside this box, trying to get the instructions out.
You did that?
How's it going? Oh, you got him?
I got them.
Smells like broccoli, huh?
I'm butch.
You're butch.
All the nuts and bolts that you need are in there.
You left the nuts in there?
Yeah.
Just diving. Okay, I have a question for you. How did your family feel about you starting a channel?
They were super supportive. They were like, yeah, they were on board. I mean, I think they're just always worried that I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna do anything, bye! And then just like disappear into the woods and like not have a career, not take care of myself, whatever. So like they were actually like very much like, are you gonna start a channel? Are you gonna start a business? Like, what is your plan? Yeah, they weren't really nervous. I think like they, for some reason, you know, they're Sims. They just believed in us. Obsessed with us.
And then Bree also.
Bree was really supportive too.
Bree was so excited. Bree was so happy that there was another person coming here every day.
Yeah.
Because I know at first you were very like, oh, I feel bad because we're working out of your home and like it's very intrusive. And it's like, okay, but like I don't think you understand that like we haven't interacted with anyone but ourselves.
For months.
And now we're getting a new person.
By end of July is when we started shooting videos.
Today's our first shoot.
It is.
Look at this cold baby.
I am cold and I am a baby.
Yeah, you're cold because we're running the air conditioning right now because we're gonna have to turn it off to film and it's gonna get real hot in here.
It's 95 degrees currently.
Yeah. It's been so long since we started working on this channel that I have a different couch now. Basically, nobody was filming.
Exactly.
The first, I want to say,
The first like 10.
year.
Yeah, actually, maybe more than that. Yeah.
Like the first year of videos, nobody was helping us.
Yeah, and you can tell in the early videos, like
They look and sound worse.
They look and sound worse. You know, the camera works like a little bit like
Static
because no one's touching it. The other thing that we did in July is we met up with a friend of ours who's a photographer, and we had him take photos of us that we would then be using in our channel art, in our title cards. It's funny when you look back at all of our early channel videos, it's like you can tell that we were going through a weird time by the state of my hair. It's like early pandemic, I haven't gotten my hair cut in a long time. I like feel weird, I look weird.
Yeah, you had long hair.
I had long hair for our early videos for a while.
It was rough on you.
I did not enjoy it, but I wanted to be safe.
I know one thing that we talked about was like, what do we not want to do anymore? Like, what were the things that burned us out so badly that we're not gonna like subject ourselves to that? Because I think like we kind of both agreed that like if we were gonna do videos that were really, really personal, that like we were going to space them out as much as possible. We also talked about how I was probably going to be doing fewer fashion videos because fashion videos honestly stress me out.
Yeah.
I'll do them like because they do well. You guys love them.
Yeah.
You just can't get enough of that good stuff. But yeah, they stress me out. It's kind of why we do a lot of Trader Joe's videos because those videos are fun to make, fun to watch.
Yeah, they do well.
They do well, super quick to edit. And we're just like, why are we doing videos that we don't want to do? That's a rule that you introduced. Because
Yeah.
you're just like, I'm not making I don't want to make anymore.
The one thing that I remember saying too is I was like, we have to be sure that we're going to prioritize like our mental health too, because now that we're in charge of the company, like we get to have a say. So something that I think we talked about too before we launched was like, what's our release schedule going to be like? And originally you were like, why don't we release twice a week? Because when you release twice a week, you get more of an algorithm push, you know, it's easier to build an audience. And that like immediately set off like, you know, Kill Bill sirens, alarm bells in my head. I was like, oh, no. I just knew in my head, in my heart of hearts, I was like, if we release like twice a week, we are gonna get burned out so fast. The way to make YouTube easier, in my opinion, on yourself, because it is a job where it's very much like a grind and you do wanna be releasing as much as possible. Mm-hmm. The way to make it a little bit easier is to have a bank of videos, is to like give yourself videos that are shot, edited, ready to go so that you're not scrambling to shoot a video for next Friday. Like throughout the past 2 years, like we both had different health issues, different personal issues. Like there were a lot of times when us only releasing once a week and having the complete control of the channel really saved us and made it easy.
I'm so glad you talked me out of twice a week.
I know.
You would have never agreed to it, but I'm so
I never
glad.
would have agreed to it, but
I'm glad that you talked me out of like even trying to push you on it.
so like by September 2020, we had a bunch of videos edited. We had graphics made.
We're 3 days away from launching our trailer. This is all we have left to do before we launch.
Well, I gotta wash my sheets.
Well, okay, you gotta wash your sheets. And I probably need to take like a shower or something.
But other than that,
We're set!
we're golden. April 15th, baby.
April 15th, that was our original launch date.
The first video went live
October 9th.
I think even though the channel launched earlier, I think we both see October 9th as like the official channel launch.
I don't know if we filmed the moment we launched.
We definitely did not, because it was kind of hectic.
It was really hectic, and it was like, I don't know, like about 30, 45 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It was super hectic, and we're still kind of working through it. But it is live. It's live. So I have a question.
Yeah.
That I actually don't remember the answer to. Do you remember our first video was our
Hot dog.
I look back at that video and I was like, why did we choose that video? Did we just really like that video?
It just seemed like, you know, this is a very funny video, so let's just launch it first.
Because I look back on that and I was like, what a weird choice.
It is a weird video because it's just like, it's like a hot dog video, all right. Our first Trader Joe's video on our new channel was Kristen and Jen try every Trader Joe's baked goods.
Yeah.
So that was like video 2.
Wow, cutting Kristen's hair was video 3?
Yeah. We launched our Patreon, we launched the channel in October. This is the thing where it was like, oh, maybe things are gonna work out, because I'm pretty sure we had close to 100,000 subscribers within like a week, 2 weeks.
And we planned to put out our Why We Love BuzzFeed video because we knew that was going to be like a big channel driver. We knew it was going to be like a big hit, a big source of growth. And we were just like, we don't want to put that out first.
Yeah.
Because we want to build like a bank of videos and then have that be the video, and then people can be like, oh, look, other videos that they've made that are good. So it isn't just like the looky-loos who want that gossip and then they leave.
Yeah.
We wanted people to like, looky-loo at us for our assets, not just for our gossip.
Yeah. Within like October, it was like we're recouping the costs of some of our editing. We're recouping the costs of our production costs. And like that was very, very very, very affirming.
Oh, yeah.
Because like we were so scared that like we would launch and it would just become clear immediately that like we're not gonna make the money back, we're not gonna like be successful. Thank you, basically. Thank you so much for supporting us.
Yes,
because you
honestly,
really
yes.
you helped you like made us realize like okay, we can do this.
It was clear within the first 2 weeks that like we were gonna be honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it was clear within the first week
that we were gonna be successful.
And I was just like, oh, thank
God.
because we did
Y'all,
not have a backup plan.
We did not. And our early videos, which obviously were shot in the early months of the pandemic, so it's like everybody in the world going through a rough time.
Yeah.
But like, and without going too much detail about our personal lives, like summer 2020, fall 2020, early 2021 were some of like the hardest months Kristen and I have both experienced. The fact that like we had this like little thing of hope that was like the channel is doing well, it very much helped, I think, us get through those months. Obviously, like the two of us like were like, we started this, and we did, but we had a very supportive network of like very talented people who helped us out a lot. We have ADHD, we have our life, like we're not always gonna like be on top of everything. Running a business can be difficult, we make mistakes, stuff happens, I lose my keys.
We get like lots of emails from our business managers and we're just like, we don't know what's going on in these.
And they're
Sorry.
like, maybe if you opened them you would, dumb.
And we're just
We're
like,
like,
we are not gonna read number stuff. Sorry.
It's like people probably have some notes on how we could be doing better. But from our perspective, we're doing great.
Anyway, that's the end of the video.
We started a channel. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here while we bought a zoo. It's been a long road.
We love you.
I love you. Okay, bye.
Bye. See you next time.